Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 9 of 2023. Another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. I got some good ones this week. If you like it, give it a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. As ever, let's crack on. So this is actually out of Berkeley, California, plus some other researchers as well. And they found out that they can track you just using your head and hand movement. So there's 3 points of contact. And when I say track you, it basically means that just based on the movements that you do within these games, they can identify you. Now, if they use 100 minutes of tracking data, they can identify you with 93% accuracy, and with only 10 seconds, they can identify you with 73% accuracy. So what does this mean? This is really saying that within the metaverse or within these virtual experiences, then just the way you move can identify who you are. So what is the solution to this? Also coming out of Berkeley is a thing called MetaGuard, which is essentially a incognito mode really for VR. So all it does is it adds some noise, adds some sort of muddies the data really. So it obfuscates your movements, it still allows the experience to happen, but essentially means that you can't be tracked. So is privacy in the metaverse a bad thing or a good thing? Discuss. NBA have launched or are launching a new app. Just downloaded it. This feature isn't in there just yet. But what it allows you to do is use your phone to walk around somebody, scan them as a 3D avatar, and then, this is the cool bit, you can then substitute yourself as your 3D avatar as any person in a live game. So you can pause the game, choose which person you'd like to be, and then press start again. And as you see here, it will substitute you, i.e. person here in a purple shirt. I probably should know who it is. Not really into basketball, sorry about that. However, that's what it does. So interestingly, nobody's exactly sure. So lots of comments around this, lots of noise, lots of reports, but nobody's really sure exactly what it's for or what you're going to do with it. It's a little narcissistic, is a lot of the comments are saying. But there you go. It's an interesting feature for live streaming. This is kind of, it's a bit of a car crash, but also keeps coming back for more. This is the Virtue, or in which case the Metavertu, should we say, the handset. Now, Virtu, if you don't know, are famous for quite high-priced and averagely featured phones really for people with more money than sense. I think that's really what the public consensus is on this. However, this is the latest level. So prices, if you're interested, by the way, £2,787 for the base model. And if you want the one that I think is horrific, it's got crocodile skin and 18 karat gold and diamonds in it, then that will cost you nearly £35,000. But why is this even a thing? Well, it's the Web3 phone. So what does that mean? Well, it means it's got a bunch of apps in there through a sort of a portal that they've got on the phone where you can do all sorts of things like have NFTs or your wallet, all those sorts of things. So that's pretty much all it really does. It's one of those things that is, if you've got more money than sense, it's probably a cool thing to have. But having read all the reports of it, it's a bit scary as well, because you have to do things like upload your photo, you holding your passport to verify. So all the sort of the slightly dodgy stuff we were doing to do cryptocurrency transactions a couple of years ago are now part of this experience as well. So if that's your bag, then go for it. As I say at the bottom, I think this is utter nonsense. But there you go, people are still falling for this sort of stuff. This is a really interesting discussion about a robot tax. So originally, well, not probably originally, but it's going back to the 70s, but Bill Gates has been a massive proponent of this, and recently Bernie Sanders added some weight to this as well, saying that governments should impose a tax on robots for two main reasons. One is obviously the easy thing to do and the cheap thing to do is replace a human person with a robot whenever you possibly can. You automate the repetitive is the phrase. So that then leads to two things. One is that person is now out of a job. So you need to disincentivize industry to do that. So you need to actually give gainful employment to real people. And the second thing is, if you're not employing real people, then governments can't tax those real people, and therefore governments do not get any money to do all the other things they need to do. So it's a really interesting concept of taxing robots, but primarily to disincentivize people to actually use robots. Just the future of the human race can't just be to stand by and watch robots do stuff. So it's a really interesting concept, really interesting discussion on Business Insider. So definitely have a click on that in the links and read that. This is Wist, again possibly categorized as not quite sure what this is for, but this is an app that's in beta at the moment. You can't actually get it, so it's I think it's probably invite only, so you might be able to if you sign up. However, what this does is allows you to record video, quote unquote, using your front camera with LiDAR scanner. So what it does is it records the 3D data of you and the recording, so as you can see on the right hand side, potentially doing a capture of your cat. It will actually use the 3D data, and then at any point in the future it will map that 3D data onto the current living room or the current environment you're in. So if somebody was, for instance, sitting in a sofa doing something in a corner, then you can map it back onto that situation, and you can either watch that through your Oculus headset and or just through your phone using sort of augmented reality. Again, not exactly sure what this is for, but it's a great use of stuff, I guess. It's a problem waiting for a solution. It's the other way around. This is a solution waiting for a problem to actually happen. This is Tevel. I assume that's how you say this. This is a fruit picking robot. Now, I've seen a few fruit picking robots before. Well, I have at least. just the way it happens. This one is drone based. Been out for a while, but there was a really interesting demo I saw recently, so I thought I'd just actually feature it. So this is supposedly the answer to the problem of what do you do when you can't get your seasonal workers, you know, gestures broadly at Brexit or whatever. So apparently what you do is you then hire these drones. So it takes pictures of the fruit, each one as it picks them, so it knows what it's looking for. It can then choose the ripest fruit. It can then use this little vacuum sucker thing, and each one that it collects, it then stores the data on as well. So if you're an orchard owner, for instance, then all of the data is actually stored where they pick them, rather than when you get them back to the warehouse, you go, all of these apples are bad, where did they come from? Well, now you know, because you've got it all on your iPad. If you hear this thing with actual sound on, it's horrific, because it's just like, it's a swarm of drones, obviously. But they say, no, the great thing is you can do this at night and it doesn't use humans. So see previous point about robot tax, and you're pretty much in the right place. But there you go. And finally, Infinite Simpsons. So this is really interesting. I thought I was going to hate it, but I actually love this. This is great. So this is a automatically generated, it's not exactly live because it takes about 15 minutes to generate each one of the episodes, and each one of the episodes is about 3 minutes long. So there is a sort of, some are repeated, but if you go onto the Twitch stream, which you can watch, just log into it. And what it is you just get these kind of crazy nonsensical versions of the Steamed Hams episode, which if you don't know it, then please Google Steamed Hams episode Simpsons and you'll find out what it's about. But it's essentially, it's about somebody inviting somebody over for steamed hams and it going wrong and trying to get out of it by essentially fibbing. So what it does is it creates these really interesting, nonsensical but plausible scenarios, and therefore it generates them in real time using this very crude, I mean, it's using Unreal 5 but not really, using all the features of Unreal 5, shall we say, but it's really watchable. So I would probably watch this for a good 20 or 30 minutes because it just was weird. It's very interesting. So there you go. Check it out at the Twitch stream, Unlimited stream. There you go. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully it was interesting. If it was, give it a like, send it to somebody, all that good stuff, and I will see you next week.